So we're back at our project yard for 2024. Today is day 2. Yesterday was our prep day. Measured the yard, we did a soil test, we scalped the yard, and then we took a hard rake over it to try to rough up the ground and get the seed bed ready for seeding today. Well, now we're back. It was a little too windy yesterday to spray our tenacity. We're going to do that today. Weather is cooperating much better. After that, I'm going to show you how to spread pre-germinated grass seed, wet grass seed that we've been soaking for the past 4 or 5 days. And we're going to get that on the ground. And then finally, we're going to layer it with peat moss, and we're going to set up some sprinklers. And I think this yard's going to be looking great. Once we've taken our soil test, we've got the dirt in the bucket, in a bag, sending it off to the lab. We're going to start prepping our yard for the seed. Do not kill your weeds before seeding. A lot of weed products on the market, they have a warning on the label that says you might need to wait 20 days, 30 days after spraying to seed over that. We don't want to have to wait for that. Time is of the essence for us. We're gonna have some warmer temperatures in the next few days, and we wanna get this grass established before it gets too hot, because we're gonna have to nurse it through the summer and do the best we can. So we are going to cut these weeds all down. We're gonna scalp the entire yard, and then we are gonna go over top with tenacity. Tenacity is a pre-emergent and post-emergent, and I'll be talking about the difference of those in another video, but we're going to be using its pre-emergent properties. Usually you can't put pre-emergent down before seeding. Pre-emergent is a barrier in your yard. It's a chemical barrier, and it prevents plants, good plants, bad plants, whatever you want, from growing through the soil. It inhibits that growth. Well, if we put pre-emergent down and seed, then we wouldn't be able to grow grass. This is a pre-emergent that you can grow grass seed with. Trying to work a little bit quickly today to get this done. This product is all over YouTube. A lot of people really like using it. Very easy to use, and a little bit goes a long way. Follow the steps on the label and make sure whenever you're spraying you have eye protection, long sleeves, long pants, closed-toed shoes, and make sure to read the label. The label is law. Pro tip, anytime that you are going to be mixing chemicals in your sprayer, fill the reservoir up halfway with clean water, and then put your chemicals in, mix it up, and then fill it up the rest of the way, or however much you're going to need for that project, and then mix it one more time. That'll ensure that you have a great, thorough mix. If you've never sprayed anything before, I've got a few tips for you to consider. 1, don't start with tenacity or any other more aggressive product. Start with water on your driveway. 1, you can see the spray pattern, and 2, you're not gonna harm anything while you practice. 2, that same measurement that you took of the yard the first time you got out there and you found those 1,000 square foot increments, that's what you're going to use to spray. You're going to treat 1 gallon of mix that you have in your backpack or in your hand cannon, and you are going to get that 1 gallon over 1,000 square feet. 1 gallon per 1,000 square feet. The more you can break it up into 1,000 square foot increments, the easier it's going to be. The last thing I'll say about spraying your yard with any type of chemical is that once you've covered all the square footage of your yard, you're done. Don't go back over. If you made too much product, you can put that in a container and save it for next time. If you were trying to do a blanket application like this and maybe you got the ratios wrong, don't worry about it. Okay, you will do a better job next time. Do not over apply the product. These are supposed to work in tiny droplet sized applications through your sprayer. You can do more harm than good. get your walk speed better next time. You're gonna have some growing pains, and that's okay as long as you follow the label and work in those 1,000 square foot increments. Like I said, 1 gallon per 1,000 square feet, you're gonna do a pretty good job. If you missed the video previously where I was prepping the yard, I was going to spray yesterday. That was the plan, but it was too windy. Spray on a day where you're not going to get that drift, where you're not going to try to compensate. Control the controllables. We're going to be pre-germinating this grass seed that's going to allow us to shave a ton of time off of waiting for this grass seed to pop up rather than going straight from the bag. We are going to be soaking it and speeding up that process and hopefully catching it just a day or two before it starts to shoot out and sprout roots and shoots. And it will allow us to have more control over the process. We're not going to be having to water as much. We're not going to have to rely on the weather as much. And it will also avoid washout in case we do get a huge rainstorm coming up in the future. The one thing that you have to keep in mind with pre-germinating is that you need to have some type of product, a carrier to spread it. Once that seed gets wet, it gets all clumpy. We're going to be mixing with Milorganite. On the website, Milorganite recommends that you go 4 pounds of Milorganite per every pound of grass seed. Blue Resilience from Twin City Seeds wants you to spread it from 7 to 9 pounds of grass seed per 1,000 square feet. We're going to be doing 8 pounds of grass seed right in the middle per 1,000 square feet. So that would mean that we are putting down 32 pounds, 8 times 4 is 32 pounds of Milorganite per 1,000 square feet with that 8 pounds of grass seed. That is a lot of fertilizer. That's really expensive, and I don't like all of those nutrients going down in the ground like that. So we're going to try to see if we can get by with less product, maybe 3 pounds, maybe even 2 pounds of Milorganite per pound of grass seed. That would be awesome. We'll see how we can do with that. Now we've got our seed and Milorganite all mixed together. Everything in here is going over 1,000 square feet of yard, and that'll be on the other side. So I'm going to portion this into my earthway spreader here, and I'm going to go over that and I'm going to spread it out. I don't know exactly what setting I'm going to be using. I haven't done this since last season. But because we know that we have 1,000 square feet of product and 1,000 square feet, all we have to do is spread it evenly. So we'll crank it open just a little bit, whatever makes sense, and then we will spread it out. If it's going out a little too much, we'll close it down. If it's not going in enough, then we could either open it more or just make more passes. I'll have an in-depth video about how to use one of these spreaders and how to make sure that you're getting the most out of your product in a later video. Okay, so we just finished up seeding the lawn here. We put all the grass seed down in their appropriate segments of the yard, evenly spread out. 3 pounds of Milorganite per pound of grass seed worked terrific. 4 pounds, I guess, if you want to be safe, but 3 pounds here was perfect. So I'm probably going to carry that number forward for my purposes from here on out. Next step, I'm going to take the back of a steel tine rake, the same rake that I used yesterday to rough everything up. I'm going to take the back of it and just do a gentle rake and make sure that the seed is knocked down. I don't know if you can hear me with the construction going on in the background. With the seed knocked down into the places where there is grass and maybe some heavier vegetation. There's a lot of bare spots, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I'm just going to go back through and rough it up and make sure that seed gets down to the soil. If the seed is not in contact with the soil, you're not going to get grass. It has to be in contact with the soil. The best thing you can do is have it slightly under the soil. But as long as we get it down onto the soil, then we're going to have the best chance for success. Now we're going to be spreading peat moss all over the yard. They make peat moss spreaders. I don't have access to one for this job. I'd love to use one, but I'm just going to be doing it by hand. Not that hard of a job, just annoying and dirty. Best technique I could say is to get some type of cart or wheelbarrow. Better yet, find a buddy or husband or wife to help you out and do this. And all we're going to be doing is just sprinkling a light dusting, a coating over anywhere that we've seeded. Maybe go a little bit heavier in the areas without any grass at all. It'll help to hold the seed in if and when it rains, and it's also going to make sure that it retains a little bit of moisture so that we don't have to have perfect sprinkler coverage every single time. Unfortunately, I have to end this video abruptly. I was running out of time. I have a few tips to finish up with. Mainly, probably the most important aspect of this is going to be watering. One, you're going to be watering frequently but lightly. I'd say 2 to 4 times a day, around 5 minutes per cycle. That will be dependent upon your property and if you have in-ground or above-ground sprinklers or if you have to hand water with a hose. 2, the ground should be wet but not soaked. If you absolutely have to walk on it, your shoes should definitely get wet, but they shouldn't make any footprints. You shouldn't hear any sounds. You shouldn't be making a swamp out there. The grass just needs access to a little bit of water. And finally, be patient but diligent. You are literally watching the grass grow. This is a tough time during lawn renovation process, but you will definitely be rewarded with your hard work. Just have a few shots here of the sprinkler setup that I've built. I take in-ground sprinkler heads and I mount them to PVC pipe, and I've created a multi-zone system. This is great for people who don't have an in-ground sprinkler system, and they also don't want to have to move their sprinkler around to multiple zones. That could be difficult for people who have jobs or who have a busy lifestyle. I have a video coming out talking all about above ground irrigation solutions. As you can see here, I have a manifold set up to the spigot outside, creating a 2-zone solution. I find this to be a lot better than those little splitters that you can buy at home improvement stores. They don't restrict the flow, and it's a lot easier to control what you're doing. Thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate everybody subscribing and commenting. I'll have more content coming out for you soon. Thank you so much.